Well, as you did mention, my name is James Adalcott. I am a member of other political parties. Particularly, I'm leader of OPP under the leadership of Honorable Peter Mayen Majongdit. So,
Mr. Peter Majangdit, okay, let us try to look at you personally. I think, looking at the OPP and you being a member of a political bureau as young as you are, I think you'll be able to tell us how old you are, because now, looking at your age, a member of political bureau within a party, decision maker, it's a very great position. And as young as you are aspiring to become a great politician one day in this country, representing your party, representing your people from your constituency. Looking at yourself at this age, people would be wondering, a young man like you being appointed as a member of political bureau within the party, you must be a strong person. Why?
Thank you. Well, this, as you stated, this shows that there is hope for young people in this country, as we are given
The chance.
a chance, opportunities to exercise our, our ideas into our nation. So, particularly within our party, as a member of leadership council or a political bureau, I'm not only representing within the party, but also the voice of everyone across the country, because the decision we make within the party, how we structure the party, first and foremost, I always contribute.
Well, you are dancing to the tune of all South Sudanese national, regardless of who you are, where you come from, as long as you're a South Sudanese who deliver services to the people and people who demands also your services. Great. Let us try to hear from Gemma. Gemma, you sounds great, because you've got a representative who is a national speaker in the parliament, and you inherited that name, or it is genuine? It is you looking at one look at inspiration. When someone has inspired someone, looking at how someone is talented into, Anna would be like also that. Those kind of things comes.
Yes. Sorry, the name is actually Jamima.
But sounds the same.
True, that is true. She's a woman, and she's a speaker at the National Assembly, and I think it's a great privilege and honor for women to have that status.
Great.
Yes. She was part of the country coming to independence, and I think she's contributed a lot to the development of the country.
Empowerment.
And women empowerment as well, yes.
And what do you have to tell us as far as you being an advisor to this party, the so-called Sudan African National Union, and you representing the party, looking at its context, being an advisor? What do you have to say on that?
SANU was actually one of the first political parties representing South in the whole Sudan. So the party has continued to exist. That's why it's still called SANU, because a lot of people know it. And I'm the youth advisor. So I advise the party on the youth and some of their issues within the country and how important they are, especially economically, for the country.
Jamin, what do you have in mind in decision making, working, joining politics in this political party?
Well, first of all, I'm patriotic, so I guess that's why I joined a political party. And I guess I want to see the country move forward. I always believe that in spite of the challenge we faced in South Sudan, as South Sudanese, we got an opportunity to be to travel the world, to learn from them and also be able to come back and bring that knowledge into this country. So even though we're the newest nation, we should be able to grow faster economically and technologically and develop faster compared to other countries because of our experience and our education.
Joining politics, when we look at the .com generation, this generation today, it's a generation that actually can make it's a milestone, but at least it will make a change that will inspire most young people to join politics. And looking at it, how do you look into young people driving a nation?
Because in this age now, knowledge is at our fingertips. We can access information from the internet and we're able to bring new innovation into the country, which is good actually for the country, and this is what we need, new innovations and new way of thinking and doing things, because the world is advancing and moving very at a fast pace. We also need to catch up, and the youth turn to have some of that knowledge.
Perfect.
Yes.
Perfect. I think that's great to have had that. Mr. James, now let us look into the role of your party. What is the role of your party looking at, because you being a member of a political bureau, Mr. James, you are representing great people as young as you are, looking at the youth today, be the youth involvement into politics. The mandate is already being given, a doorway open. Youth and women are given opportunity to exercise their politics at this arena today. What do you have to say as far as your party is concerned, and looking at the young people as aspiring, and at the same time in this .com generation?
Well, this is a very major concern, which is of particularly the responsibility of our country, South Sudan. You know, when you look at FATI, FATI is initiated, and always the goals and the ambitions is to rule the country. Therefore, on our side, as members of OPP, we subjected as we are not taking responsibility of our party, but the responsibility of our nation. So the decision we take within the party is always we have to be very careful, because this will affect the nation. Therefore, the ambitions of our party, or the goals, is to transform transformation of democratic in South Sudan. As we all know, South Sudan has been facing a lot of challenges in terms of governance, leadership. That's why today we are up to this level, which we can't imagine. It's so hard for youth and young people to move on in terms of decision making, and also participation, even in very numerous ways.
Mr. James, from the People Political Party, political bureau, could you be able to tell the people of South Sudan a few of your manifestos that you have staked in the making?
Okay, that's very great. As particularly the umbrella political parties, as I did mention, under the leadership of Honorable Peter Mujongrit, he is first and foremost presidential candidate. That's what I can tell you. And then second to it, we have a clear roadmap in terms of the aspiring to take charge of the affairs of the nation. You know, we already have developed a very clear document called Gateway for the election. That was towards Gateway for 2024 election, if the election were to take place in 2024.
Now
but
that
now
you have
2026.
You are preparing for elections, as you did mention a little bit while here. What are your geographical locations, because now the upcoming youth who are trying to represent within the political parties, rivaling with actually the ruling party, to make sure at least there has to be in coexistence of political wing from one party to another to look into that. Would you be able to tell us one of your geographical involvement into this, looking at the upcoming elections?
Well, we are all represented into these states. It is only the administrative areas whereby we are not, all the opposition, let me say, are not represented constitutionally. It's only the ruling party that is represented within the three administrative areas. However, in terms of party structure, our party is already
great.
there.
Let us also try to give our lady here, because this is nice having her on board with us, who is Jamin, because gender is also very important. We are looking at ladies, also the young women who are inspiring, looking at actually who can speak in the public, representing.
Important. Politics is about expressing yourself, your desires, your wishes, and being able to speak to the leaders so that they're able to take it into consideration. So it's really important.
Representing women within your party, looking at yourself, very tangible, energetic, and you've been identified having the potential to represent young women to the parliament, and looking at also at the same time you can perform. Could you be able to tell us a few of your manifestos representing women? Because women, youth, they're already in politics.
Yes. My manifesto in representing women, I think we try to encourage women to work, to get educated, because women, their family, they're sending their children to school, and if we look at our parents too, you find majority of women are the ones that struggled. So when you empower the women, as they say, you empower the nation. So my manifesto is to ensure that women get educated and they also have access to work.
Now that Jamin, South Sudan is looking forward into elections, it's very important that active participation of youth. If you look into the arena today, looking at the role of women representing the young people into participation, let me give it a simple example from the grassroots to the national level.
I think it's a natural thing for women to be able to have, to be in politics and to also represent others, because from nature itself, you see women have this leadership role where they have to take care of the community, they have to take care of families. So it's part of their nature. So them being in politics, it's just simply expanding that role into the nation.
Yeah, that's great. I think, Mr. James, to look into you representing your political party, let us still come insisting into the elections. That is majorly is ahead of us, that people are looking into, because it starts by now, that people are preparing. There's a massive preparation from the national level to the grassroots, looking into this, representing people from their constituencies, the grassroots down there, to be brought into. What are the criteria you people have? Because by bringing people to represent to the national level or to the state level, there have to be rallies, there have to be campaign, there have to be looked at who will represent that political party in the National Assembly, who will represent in the state level, you know, those kind of things. And we've got members within the party who represent countrywide.
No, well.
What do you have in mind in your preparation if you're looking for the coming election?
If it is in terms of preparations, we are ready to contest for election. whether parliamentary, gubernatorial, or presidential, because we now have three. But the question is now whether is the gubernatorial, parliamentary, and presidential are going to be conducted at one. That will be the first question. But in terms of criteria, are always viewed by the election commission to know who is eligible to contest for this specific role, whether in the parliament or presidency. However, on our side of our party is that the leader of our party. Okay, let me talk of the criteria you just mentioned. The leader of our party is now ready to contest.
How unique would you want your members representing from the grassroots to come? Because when you look at the primaries, because this time I think there is that representation where people come through debate, people come through actually consultancy within the constituencies to represent. Do you have that in mind? Debates, primaries, where you are elected by the people to represent from the grassroots?
Well, this is what is going to be there, because we are about to be a democratic society.
Exactly.
Yeah, you will not just be in a power unless you are elected, or there shall be some a specific role that will be appointed by the president or a leading person of the institution. However, in terms of mobilization, which you just mentioned, the parties have not yet started this one, let me say, political rallies. However, in terms of preparation, it depends on how you want to make it. For instance, our party, let me say, we are ready and prepared, because we have designated our party. Let's start within the national level, and then the state. Let me come at the state level, and then the county level,
Bomas and Payams.
Bomas and Fayam. But as for now, we are still approaching up to the Fayam level. But we have reached up to 4 stages of designating our visions and goal of taking charge of the affairs of this nation. So it is very clear that we are willing, and if the people of South Sudan decided to elect our leadership.
Great, that's great. I think you are greatly looking into the vision of you representing equally professionally. Jimin from Sumnat, how prepared are you looking at the upcoming elections? Because when you look at it critically, 2026, 2027, it's there are a number of these activities that would be done in a short period of time, and you are within a party that would actually represent. How do you look into that? Because in the primaries, is it going to be done professionally other than appointing or lobbying for? Because now, when you look into from the grassroots, people are supposed to be rallying, appointed, and not appointed, but to campaign and speak out debates, public debates, and looking at who is who. And how prepared are you? You are being an advisor.
Well, currently, before we actually even look into the election, we're trying to capacity building for most of the youth and the people in South Sudan. And I think before we even go into any form of rally, we need to be able to build the capacity of the people and help them understand the process and things like that. Then the constitution making process, because they also have to give their viewpoint on what kind of constitution they want,
Exactly.
and things like that. Then from there we can look into the rally, because once they're informed and they know what to look for, then we can have the rallies to tell them what we're going to offer them.
That's great. And now you talked of actually looking at the constitutional review process,
Yes.
which is very important. It's ongoing now.
Yes.
What are some of the points looking at you going through this constitutional review process? Because youth have to be trained, and women to look into actually how to express themselves into the public and doing most of the activities. How far do you think you are?
So far there are a lot of organizations and government organizations and also national organizations that are actually trying to empower women and train them through workshops on how to speak in public, how to
Represent their constituencies.
represent the constituencies, and also express themselves. So there are a lot of women actually who are already within this field, who are working, and there is actually a hope.
What is the massive turn up on this constitutional review process? Because countrywide today it's in exercise.
Yes.
When you look into it, what is the massive turn up?
I think that one has to be answered by the Constitution Commission. I'm not really aware of their
Are you
ongoing
not
process.
date attributing to the workshop, as you did mention, because most of you would be invited to be giving their views,
Yes.
other than going to the grassroots. Of course, there is also a need for those ones from the grassroots. You know, when you look into this constitutional review,
Yes.
it favors others and doesn't favor others. So can you give us that slight difference?
Well, because this is going to be our final constitution, so it's a huge and a very important event that needs to take place properly. Because if we're going to educate the people and give civic education, we also have to consider the people working in the market, the border riders, the rickshaw people, the people who sell small
Of course, those are
jobs.
very important people.
Very important, because their input will determine the future of the country, and they need to have the knowledge. They need to have the understanding. So this is, I would say, a huge and a very important thing.
Jamin, do you agree with me and the people at large in the country that there are people in existence within the country do not know what election means?
Yes.
Do not know what constituency means, even from the grassroots?
Yes, they are based on the percentage of literate
Well,
and
you have
illiterate
answered the
people.
question. What criteria or the mechanisms would you use? Because looking at the language barrier is an issue also here when you look at it. There is an issue of translation. When you go back to the grassroots down over there,
Yes.
people have to be, as you did mention, transformed into knowing there are people who are too blue, green, completely not knowing anything. They'll look at people coming, they'll not know what they are coming to do.
Yes.
And how would they sensitize such into this process? You being a young woman representing.
Well, I think there are a lot of educated people within all the different states and the counties and the Payams and the Bomas who are able to go to the grassroots, who are able to understand the constitution-making process and the civic education process, create a manual within the language, and when they go to the people in the grassroots, speak to them in the language that they understand and teach them on their importance. And the importance
that
of
means that is the
constitution.
translation of languages to various
It's not necessary. They don't really need to translate the document. If, let's say, I pick a village within a certain Boma, and there's a person who's educated and they do
within
understand,
and translates to the natives.
If they do understand the document and the process and the civic education that they need to impact on these people, they can translate that knowledge they have into the local language
It
and
is
speak to
a
the
process.
people. It is, but it's not difficult actually, because you do speak your mother tongue, yes? So if you have your knowledge, you can translate it and speak to them in your mother tongue.
Let's pick it from you and we will get right there. Viewers of Alpha Morning, we are going for a short break, and of course a young politician, aspiring and ambitious, with me in the studio, trying to look at the role of young people as being they empowering young youth and women into politics, public speaking, and how getting involved into politics, spearheading as actually the head of state has given a mandate that young people should get involved into the politics, so that they spearhead being a backbone of the nation, to represent from their constituencies and looking into the political parties, the ruling party at the same time spearheading the nation. Let's go for that short break. We will be right back as we continue to discuss with these ambitious young looking politicians with me in this Alpha Morning Show. Wherever you are, stay with us, don't go away. We'll be right back. Stay with us.
How was it?
You are still watching Alpha Morning, and of course, wherever you're following us on the social media, SSBC is special on also the YouTube. Try to stay with us and follow us, and we are still here live in the studio, bringing you this program, and on the young politicians aspiring from actually different political parties, trying to rival with the ruling party, coming to actually represent the parties, and as the same target, as the same role played within the ruling party, and also other political parties with us. And I think is the same game in the system. Young people upcoming. Mr. James, you are a member of political bureau. It sounds funny, not really funny, but sounds young at your age, as a decision-making youth within the system. What criteria do you have in convincing the people from the grassroots? Because it's not easy for people to accept you in terms of resources, in terms of public speaking, as young as you are, maneuvering. Young people are ambitious, but they say youth today are lazy into maneuvering many things. You cannot go to stay in the bush in your village for almost a month, mobilizing people, convincing them on how the system goes. There are people even who do not know what elections are. There are people who do not know what government is. At the rate of illiteracy, there are those who have never gone to school. There are many things that are. How are you going to convince the people looking at Silent?
Well, thank you, David, for having us once again. There are so numerous ways of translating whatever you want to the people. First and foremost, cycling around the Constitution is one of the major things that we need to emphasize, because our people, given that it's going to be the first ever election in South Sudan, they need to know what government what government they shall have. Okay, when we talk of we are already at the level of now, let's say, is it federalism? The question is now, which kind of federalism we're gonna have. Okay, so it is very important for people at the grassroots to know what the constitution is. Not even what the election is.
Mr. James,
What even the constitution
it is clearly defined in the constitution on the equal representation as in the article 24. That is actually clearly defined that among the young people who.
Yes, exactly. Let me come on, okay. When we say that people need to know what the constitution is, first of all, the current constitution, okay, we are using now, many people don't know how is it or what is it.
Exactly.
Okay.
Exactly.
If I'm to tell you or to tell the people, the current constitution, this revitalized constitution, is owned by individual.
The transition
is owned by individual, not even community. Is owned by individual. We have to ask who are these individual.
Would you want to say, Mr. James? Would you want to say that the constitutional review process is the rightful one at the moment?
Exactly. This is what I really want to tell our people, that we need to have our people own constitution. Okay. A people-owned constitution or a people-driven constitution that is validated or established by all the people of South Sudan, that includes each and everyone's right, whether as South Sudanese in the abroad, they need to contribute into the constitution-making process. They are very vital and important. Also, people at the grassroots, they need to contribute. People with disability, they need to contribute their ideas and right. A youth like us, which is always a very big question and major concern. The youth that represent, the youth that constitutes almost the entire population of the country. Okay, their right and their voices are very vital to be heard in this constitution. Why? Let me just be simple and clear that as the youth, we are calling for inclusion, okay? Inclusion of 20% use of affirmative action representation in the governance at all levels. So these 20% quotas that we are calling for, let me already give you an example of women are granted what?
Great. We are coming into that. Mr. James. You know, women are equally represented, and they still complain of the 35%. They still have complaints that they should be increased. Youth are not clearly defined given their percentage, and that's why you are hesitating looking at that. And at the point, the question comes here is you are trying to tell the people of South Sudan that the revitalized constitution that is in existence, that is actually working out, the South Sudanese people are using, it's not the rightful one, except the constitutional review process would represent the rightful constitution in use. Would you want to tell the people of South Sudan that the ruling party is not using the rightful constitution?
Yes, yes, exactly. And that's it, of course, because all the crises we have been facing along, these are constitutional crises. Okay, I'm going to give you the example. Let's talk about accountability. Do we have people accountable in this country? Let's talk of court of justice. Do we have court of justice in this country? We all don't have this thing.
Now, okay? In your generation,
let me. I'm coming. I'm coming. I'll welcome your question now. Okay. Issue of accountability. That's why you are seeing all the officials are doing whatever they want. Okay. What will just happen? You won't be care.
What do you have to say on rule of law?
What I mean is this.
What do you have to say on rule of law?
Yes, I'm getting you. Okay. What I mean is this. Okay. What I mean of crisis that we are facing are constitutional crisis. If you are appointed today as official, you just do whatever you want. You just wait for a degree being relieved, and then you go to Dubai. You go where while you have taken over this one, the public resources, okay, and no accountability. Let me give you an example of no accountability. All the institutions that are supposed to help people accountable, like we have anti-corruption commission.
Commission.
That commission is even not functioning, okay?
So the anti-corruption commission is also corrupt?
I'm telling you, and that's why I'm saying there are constitutional crisis, and I'm taking you back that it is owned by individual, because if the constitution we have now was owned by people of South Sudan, we could have rights. We could have rights, okay, to either impeach people, but now the power is still under these 5 individuals that I'm talking about, the one who own the current constitution, particularly the ruling party, okay? So let's say last year, I'm coming to you.
You're telling you're telling us the stories that are happening at the moment, and it has been in existence. We are looking for a way forward. In your generation today, looking at you upcoming a young politician from wherever you are, South Sudanese national and a patriotic, looking into the future of this country in a different dimension. What would you say on as far as the implementation of this? Because you talked of the constitutional process that is going on. It's actually the best that would actually interact, and the rule of law, because without the law, without the implementation, how do you look into your generation today? You are aspiring.
That's a very good question. It reminds me of the question that was asked recently during the forum that I just had, political parties forum. We asked that, is that the new constitution we are talking about now, is it going to be implemented? Okay, so that question was a little bit, because if you say it, are we sure? This is the question all the entire nation is asking. Is this constitution going to be implemented? Well, if you elect, okay.
You will continue from there. Let us try to give Mr. Jamin also a chance. 35%. Jamin.
Yes.
35% looking at also, let us try to look at women representing as a youth, young, energetic, giant, ambitious. Is that 35% enough for you in equal representation of women? Women are many in the country, more than men.
True. That
Production is going on every day. The mortality rate is increasing, the death rate, Tell us.
Yes. Even though there's a quota of 35%, I think there's really no restriction. Is there really a restriction? It normally depends on the political party. If they decide to say, oh, we're only going to give a certain percentage to women for this. But now, if you have a few women who are capable of representing and being in that position, fine, they'll probably be 10% or 5%. But what if you have more women who have the capabilities of presenting? Do you deny that opportunity, or do you just say, okay, you know what, because there's a 35%, then we're just going to only take 35%? I think this quota...
Do you still demand for more?
I don't think I should demand for it.
Why?
I think it's something
because when
that
you look at the
given.
number of women, it's greater, more.
I think it's something that is given. If you look at the merits and
but
the
you also have the
of a
capacity to
person.
demand for.
Because I know we live in a society where we feel like, oh, okay, we only allow a certain percentage of women to be in political party, but I feel it's not a give and take thing, situation. I think if a lot of women join political party, and they're influential and they have a lot of support, there's no limitation to it. There isn't any limitation. If, let's say, in all the different political parties,
but are you impressed?
Let me give you an example. Let's say we have an election, and in all these different political party, within each party, a number of women are standing. And then all these women in this different political party are voted into that position by the people. And they go over the 35%.
Great. I
Then
think
what will we say?
because of time, I think this topic is too wide and it needs a lot of time to discuss. Let me try to come to Mr. James. You being a member of political bureau from your People's Party, would you be able to wind up in 2 minutes, because we are looking at also the time and looking at you being a member of political bureau within the party, and looking at your manifestos and looking at the role of youth involvement into politics today, and as young as you are, driving the vision of this nation today. You need to show up in public speaking, in looking at the constituencies and the rights of the people from the grassroots, education, how to bring it, and looking at the upcoming elections. What do you have to say finally?
Well, youth need to be given opportunities, to to exercise their ideas into the nation building, because we always say youth are the future of the nation, and given that they are the largest population in the country, this is what I can say to the government, that their voices need to be heard. Their recommendation to the constitution, it will be their involvement into the decision-making process, because for now, youth cannot. You will not just raise up and say, "I need the opportunity," if you are not belong to a certain political party, and that's why we all, in the other hand, we call for election. So we call for 20% youth quotas to be validated into the permanent constitution, that the process is underway. That is our call upon the government. Youth are very vital into the decision making, because
Great.
they are energetic, and they are
the backbone of the nation. They are energetic. They are quick in decision making. Let us give you a simple example of Ibrahim Traoré, 37 years, who is the president now of Burkina Faso. You should take also a little bit of diverse, looking into the African countries. Young people are coming into the next generation. That's why they are focusing on the young. Finally, what do you have to say?
Politics is changing. Right now with social media and influencers, I feel like, yes, there is a demand for a youth quota, but I feel like if you find a youth who is very influential in the media, who has a lot of support behind them, they're able to be, and they set up a political party, they're able to become the president and influence the country. And the quota is important, yes, because we've set a limitation for our youth and our women, but I feel we're able to break that barrier just because of the way politics is moving now. It's no longer as the way it was in the past.
That is a clear definition of our youth. Thank you so much for having you with me on board, our viewers of Alphla Morning Show. The question comes here is what you can do for your country, not what the country can do for you. It's the turn of the youth today to look into taking over, driving the nation, being a backbone of the nation, being energetic and ambitious into politics, and looking across Africa. A simple example, we try to bring in Ibrahim Traoré, 37 years old, representing his country, and across Africa. It's so amazing because of looking at also the highest technology, the quick thinking, quick making decisions that would actually involve the youth into. But what kind of a youth are you to be involved into politics and decision making?